Think you've seen an amazing John Wall 360 layup? Think again. American Express is bringing basketball fans the epic journeys behind the All-Star moves. Go to youtube.com/American Express now and see the All-Star journeys behind the All-Star moves.
ESPN Radio. This is the Thundering Herd Podcast.
Yesterday is the best day of the year to be a talk show host. Of course, talk show host. Like the day after the election for like a political talk show host. Rushmo. Whoever those guys are. Yesterday was my post-election show. But the day after the post-election show, damn good. Very good. Lots of meat on the bone. By the way, I got this, it was so funny yesterday, I got snowed in. This never happened in my whole life. Mostly I've lived in places without snow, like Vegas and Tampa. But I live in a place now that has snow. I'm not a big fan of snow. I don't ice fish. I'm not Norwegian. Not into my, it's not my wheelhouse. So, yesterday I got snowed in for like 3 hours. Never happened before. Like blizzard. I live on the top of a hill. And, snow, couldn't get out. Couldn't get out. So I sat there and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do today? I was going to grab a book, make some pasta, drink myself to sleep. Had a lot of options. Instead, I'm like, you know what I want to do today? I got Siberia in my backyard. So I'm going to turn on Boston Sports Radio and see how they're reacting today. They felt very good yesterday. It was a good day to be a Boston Sports Radio host. Deflategate, Pete Carroll's an idiot. Oh, it was great, like 4 hours of it. I just sat there watching it, working on my second book. Mike Felger was very funny. You know I like him. Stanzik, I like him. He makes me laugh. He's funny. I know him. It's just, I watched him yesterday. He made me laugh. So anyway, I got a lot of these this morning. Hey, Colin. Yeah, congratulations on the Patriots, but you got to live with Spygate. Yeah. Gotta be honest with you. Tastes good this morning. If you're a public figure, you're going to have a bad day. But the other 363 a year are awesome. 99% are great, 1%'s crap. Who cares? What's your average? You gotta strive for great, brother. Spygate? You think the Patriots are thinking about Spygate this morning? The New York Giants are watching playoff games on television. The Patriots are winning Super Bowls. That's life. You can't worry about, I had a bad Tuesday. Yeah, but Brady's going to have a great Wednesday. He's going home to Giselle. You can't worry about that stuff. Spygate. You think the Patriots are worried about Spygate this morning? Spygate this. Best team in football, again. It's a great day for them. And it's interesting. I've said this before. 0 to about 25 for guys, you don't control your life. When you're a kid, your mom and dad give you the rules. And then you go to college, and it's fun and stuff, but professors control your life. And, then you get out of college, and your boss controls your life. And then you get to about 28, 29, 30. You start making some money. Maybe you get married or not, but you start controlling your life at like 30, 31, 32. You have kids maybe, and now it's your life. You know what I mean? You're making money. It's your life. And then you get to be about 55, and then God takes over. Your prostate takes over. It hurts when you pee. So your life basically, 0 to 28, you don't control it, and 55 on, your body controls it. So as a guy, you really have wheelhouse years. You really have years that are like, okay, man, make the most out of it. Have the most fun, have the best sex, have the biggest laughs, go on the most trips. It's like 33 to 53. Brother, don't be angry. Live the hell out of your life. And I see this all the time in sports. Tiger Woods for a decade was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Half the country fought it. Fought it. Dude, enjoy it. You're never going to see anything like that the rest of your life. LeBron James, half of you were fighting it. Fighting it? Never seen a player like him. Ollie Frazier, Magic Bird, the Sky Hook. Unless Jabbar, unless you're a Celtic fan, just enjoy Magic Johnson. Just enjoy the Sky Hook. It's like my wife and I talk about this all the time. Enjoy the little moments. When your kid, and mine have done this, spill grape juice on your white carpet, laugh. Because 10 years from now, you're going to be drinking a glass of wine with your wife and laughing out loud on the deck about that moment. And you're going to be laughing at how mad you got. Just laugh. You can get new carpet. those years with your kids, they leave. Man, you just got to soak them up. Soak up Tiger. Soak up LeBron. And you know what else? Screw Spygate. Soak up Brady and Belichick. It'll never happen again. You'll never get the best, smartest coach in 20 years and the best quarterback together. Bill Walsh happened for an hour. They got 3. These guys have been to 6. They've won 4. They're 2 plays from 6, and they're going to win another one. Like, I understand if you hate the Patriots, you're a Jets fan. But if you're just like me, like you just want to see great football, you're not going to get that again. You're not going to get genius coach and unbelievable clutch quarterback. You don't get that in life. It doesn't work that way. You either get a great coach and you're stuck with a beige water pistol, or you get a great quarterback and you're stuck with a rich Kotite. You never get great. Parcells was great. He had Phil Simms. Good. That's kind of close, but it's not great. Tom Brady goes up against the best defense in the league with Shane Vereen, Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman, who's better than I give him credit for, and carves it up. By the way, the Brady Manning thing, the argument's over. One's better in crisis. One shrinks. Tom Brady threw for 4 touchdowns against Seattle. Go look it up this morning. We did. Try to find the last quarterback who threw for 4 touchdowns against Pete Carroll's defense. It's not Aaron Rodgers. It is not. So I see it. There's a great song about parenting. Cats in the Cradle. It's a top 10 song ever. For anybody that's got kids, especially if you're like 40s and 50s, Harry Chapin, if you have that song, it's Cats in the Cradle, and it's a great message. Like, enjoy your kids in the moment, because they're going to come back, and they're going to become you, and they're not going to be as much fun. Like, so in those years, like, live in the moment. Brady, Belichick, Magic, Bird, the Skyhook, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, LeBron. Don't fight it. You're not going to get it again. Great song. I'm going to rock out right now. Can you crank it for like 5 seconds? That is unbelievable. Oh, that is. Stanzik, you don't appreciate this because you're a kid. This is an all-timer, brother. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that right there. Yeah, that ain't Katy Perry, brother. Oh, my God. You know what?
I have a dad, though.
Oh, God. Just the best, man. All right. I got Peter King. I got Jeff Saturday. Got Dilford today. Heard brought to you by Regis. New way to work. Call 1-800-OFFICES, 1-800-OFFICES. Boy, we had a good... I went back to every single playoff game we had this year because I was like, is it me? Or were the playoffs really, really good this year? And, and I'm guilty of this. I think a lot of people are guilty of this. You live in the moment, right? You're like, oh, my God. And it's funny because I lived in the moment. I was like, man, these playoffs this year were better than ever. There has never been a playoff. And I went back, and there were 11 games. There were a lot of bad games. Patriots 45, Colts 7. Colts dominated the Broncos. Colts crushed the Bengals. Panthers Cardinals was unwatchable. Ravens smoked the Steelers. Now, there were some great ones. Patriots Seahawks, Seahawks Packers. The last 2 games we saw, the last 2 American football games, the last 2, it's the movie The Usual Suspects. It's an okay movie. It's got a great ending. The Sixth Sense. Good movie, great ending. The truth is, the first 6 playoff games, 4 were unwatchable. The last 2, Patriots, Seahawks, Seahawks, Packers, maybe the 2 best, like moments, and both ended on like this wild, spectacular play.
Want more of the Herd? The Thundering Herd Podcast.
Still talking Super Bowl today. It's, I was saying this. There's very few movies in my life that I wanted to go to. I can tell you the 3. Silence of the Lambs, Apollo, Hangover. Like all 3 of those movies I watched, and I wanted to go back to theater the next day. I wanted to go back and see Apollo. I love that movie. Tom Hanks, Apollo 13.
2 skiffs approaching with armed intruders.
Tom Hanks should have won an Oscar for Captain Phillips. That's another show. But, yeah, that's like, I did like 4 shows on that. Still pissed. So those 3 movies I wanted to watch the next day. The Super Bowl last night, I texted one of our management types, and I'm like, hey, does NBC have some outlet? I'm like, I don't know all the properties they own. Is NBC going to re-air that thing? Like, do they have some website or property that they're going to air it again? And, because all these networks, they all own like 10 different, Bravo network. And I'm like, are they going to put it on Bravo or something? I would have watched the Super Bowl again last night. Now, part of that is I was in a snowdrift and started eating my own foot. I had to go cannibal last night. Literally, I couldn't eat. I couldn't get to the store. It was awful. But the other part of that was the best football game I've watched in a long time. In fact, Vince said this. It may have been the best football game of the year, and it was in the Super Bowl. I mean, you can make an argument when you add the drama, it's the best football game of the year. I mean, it was just incredible. But it is funny that, for all, like I hear this all the time in the media. Oh, the National Football League hubris and arrogance and hubris and arrogance. Who is the media to talk about hubris and arrogance? God, the media leads the free world, myself included, in hubris and arrogance. I mean, you go look at ESPN, the forming of ESPN for 40 years. Everybody used to make fun of it. NBC, CBS, all these other networks were like, oh, it's a little cable company. Here's how you do it. The big network. Now, 25, 30 years later, they jump into the pool. Crickets. Hubris and arrogance. Well, I grew up as a kid. I grew up like most of you. I'm 50. I grew up with Sports Illustrated. It was a legendary magazine. Sports Illustrated is 6 years away from potentially not publishing a magazine. I got news for you. Hubris, arrogance. They didn't get into the digital game in time. Their website is really basically within the business a mess. I mean, it's just, that doesn't mean they don't have talented people, but they were dominant 30 years ago. Everybody got the magazine. Everybody in the world. 7, 8 years from now, they may not publish it. I mean, they may just do online. They may do what newspapers are doing. Like the world. Why? I talked to Josh Elliott, used to work there years ago. Josh had a great story. Smart guy. Really smart guy. And he's like, hey, it's not that they didn't have brains. They were arrogant. Yeah, we don't need digital. We're arrogance, hubris. When everybody's taking shots at the NFL about its arrogance and hubris, the media, look in the mirror. Look at all you networks that laughed for years at the way we do business at cable. You're the ones that got into it 5 years ago, and you're getting smoked because arrogance and hubris. You mocked cable television. So I love when the media gets up on their high horse and the NFL is arrogant. The media is arrogant. The sports media is laughably arrogant, completely disconnected from reality. The truth is, the NFL is a massive, fairly transparent public company. It's not perfectly transparent. We're not either. NBA's not either. There's some secrets. But the NFL is being covered by 8 billion media outlets. They're not perfect. They've got some bad management. Troy Vincent did something yesterday that was moronic. I mean, they make mistakes. So do we. We make mistakes all the time in the media. We've got to be careful about getting on our high horse about pointing to the people we cover and mocking their arrogance and hubris. Because that's all I hear about the NFL. Well, they're arrogant. Nobody's more arrogant than all these sports networks who in the last 5 years have gotten into cable sports and are completely ill-equipped, have made awful decisions, hubris and arrogance. And yesterday, the Super Bowl also proves this. It doesn't matter how much you screw up. If your product's good, people watch. The ratings, most watched television show in American history was yesterday's Super Bowl. Right, Vince? It's the most watched television show domestically ever in this country. Off of all the bad press. It doesn't matter. If the restaurant's got good food and service, their bathrooms can be disgusting. It doesn't matter. If the food's great, their location can be awful. You can put them in an industrial district next to strip joints. If the food's great, it overcomes everything else. Apple, the company Apple's completely dysfunctional. Even when Steve Jobs was there, it was completely dysfunctional. Read his book. But the products were great. The products were great. So the NFL, yes, they butcher things. Yes, there's arrogance. Yes, there's missteps. Yes, there's hubris. Yes, they're disconnected. God, the Ray Rice thing was appalling. Just appalling. Nobody's saying it's not. But in the end, you and I like their product. So spend a little less time worrying about anything else. Just worry about content. That's it. That's it. Mike, you're in the herd on ESPN Radio, buddy. Fire away.
Hey, morning, Colin. Two things. Totally agree with you about your children. I travel a little bit for my job, not a lot, but enough. And some days, like the weeks that I travel, I kind of count down the hours, Monday through Friday, that I actually got to spend with my 3-year-old son.
Yeah.
And it's a little sad. It's like, wow, I really only get to hang out with him for like 10 hours Monday through Friday. I better soak those hours up.
Yep.
And then along those same lines, I mean, it's an interesting comparison, but I got all these buddies that hate Tom Brady for all these strange reasons. Well, he comes across as smug, not genuine about it. Like, guys, 6 Super Bowls. Like, you're watching greatness. I'm a Packer fan, but I don't hate any other team in the NFL. I just love watching the game. And look at this guy. I mean, you get an opportunity to watch one of the best ever, if not the best ever. Like, just get over the whole smug, arrogant.
By the way, let me ask you this, Mike. If you were married to a supermodel, you were worth $500 million, were the best in America at what you did, don't you have a right to feel good about yourself? I mean, good.
That is exactly what I said. I'm like, guys, listen. If you were married to Giselle, had millions of dollars, and won 4 Super Bowls, you might.
And by the way,
you might have a little chip, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, he's not overtly arrogant. He's confident. Look at his wife. Look at his life. Look at his career. Tom Brady's a great guy. He's never cocky. He got mad about Deflategate. He wasn't cocky. He was ticked off. So, I mean, the average guy emails my radio show, has the attitude of Trump, and he works at a post office. And you'd think the guy's calling me names and swearing, and he's got like a regular dude job. And you're calling Brady arrogant? The average guy that emails my show is like a dude. He's a regular guy. I'll see him today working at any place, any place. You should see his arrogance and his ego on the email. He's attacking me. You don't know this. I'm an expert. Tom Brady's married to Giselle, worth $600 million, best in the country at what he does. So what if he did have an ego, which I never see? So what? So what? God. I mean, you can make an argument that the ego is what separates the guy with a good job and a great job. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but you could argue it. That confidence, stepping up, having a little bit of that shield, I'm better than everybody, that probably helps a lot of dudes. But whenever I hear Brady's arrogant, I just go to my email for 2 minutes and read it. You'd think guys on my email run countries. And they probably just have, like, dude jobs. Like regular dude jobs.
Colin Cowherd.
The Thundering Herd Podcast.
Peter King, the MondayMorningQuarterback.com. All right, let's start here. I don't even know how you categorize this Super Bowl in terms of craziness and Peter in wildness and greatness.
I mean, I've covered 2 of them in a row. How do you match the NFC Championship game and then the Super Bowl? It's really incredible. The thing about this Super Bowl that I thought there were so many really, really good plays made in the Super Bowl and smart things done. The problem with trying to dissect a game like this is that there's 95 things to dissect, and everybody goes to the last play, which is totally understandable. I did it today in my column at the MMQB. I dissected why Seattle failed on that last play. But the thing is, how about Tom Brady going 15 of 17 against the statistically best defense in football in 2012, 13, and 14? He goes 15 of 17 in the last 11 and a half minutes of this game.
Yeah.
And that's the cherry on top. If he never does another thing for the rest of his career, he'll be in the argument for the very short list of the best quarterback of all time.
Peter King joining us, TheMondayMorningQuarterback.com. Peter, when you look at this game, a lot of people are saying the Patriots didn't win it. The Seahawks lost it.
There's something to that, Colin, but I don't think it's ever really that simple. For a very simple reason. Give credit to Malcolm Butler. You know, here's a guy who knew that Seattle was setting up to run the classic pick play with Jermaine Kearse, who failed to get even a shoulder or to get in the way of Malcolm Butler because Brandon Browner made a really good play in engaging him at the line of scrimmage. Jermaine Kearse failed, and then, look, everybody's killing Darrell Bevell for saying that Ricardo Lockett should have fought through it, and tried to at least contest the interception, but he should have. He's 22 pounds heavier than Malcolm Butler, and Butler knocked him over like a bowling pin. So, and then Russell Wilson, he shouldn't have thrown that ball. He should have thrown it into the first row of the bleachers, unless there's absolutely no way that it could be intercepted. And clearly, Malcolm Butler was coming in to intercept that ball.
Peter King joining us, the Herd on ESPN Radio. Russell Wilson is such an outlier. He goes, the first quarter and a half without a completion. Seattle's got big choices to make, Peter, and he is not prototypical. He is not 38 for 50. There are quarters where he doesn't complete a pass. What do you do? What do you pay him? Do you empty the bank for Russell Wilson, who's taken Pete Carroll and made him into a 71% winning coach?
He is. He's an outlier. That's the best way to talk about him. And, to me, I think he has done enough now to earn his place in the, I don't know what the number is, 20, 22 million range. I really don't know, but he's there. And look, I don't think it's as agonizing a decision as the Seahawks would make it out to be. They have a franchise quarterback who is a different kind of quarterback than most others. And I don't even think it's a decision to make. They have to figure out a way so that it's not going to kill them on the cap in the next, say, 2 or 3 years. And they can figure out a way to do that. They can make him a $15, $16, $17 million cap player, like in the next 3 years, and sign him long term. I'm not sure it's going to be as difficult as what people are saying.
A lot of people would subscribe or suggest that the run for New England is nearing the end. But you and I watch Brady, and that's as good as he's ever been. It looks like to me this dynasty's got another half decade. That's just my perception. What is yours?
I think that Tom Brady has got a good 3 or 4 more years of health, unless one of his joints go, unless he gets a shoulder or elbow or something like that, or unless he gets some serious injury. But you read what Greg Bishop wrote in Sports Illustrated this year, that he has taken body maintenance to an absolutely, totally new level. A cool night for him is having avocado ice cream. And so I think he is totally, totally dedicated. He envisions life without football as a life that will be about 40% as good as the life he has now. And everybody looks at him and says he's got the perfect life. But to him, it's not going to be much of any fun if it doesn't include football. So he's going to do everything humanly possible to play football for as long as he can. And I think what we just saw, he's going to play at least 3 or 4 more years at a high level.
How great is the Super Bowl when a no-name from West Alabama and a kid who worked at Foot Locker were arguably 2 of the biggest stars?
Yeah. I love the Butler story because, remember, the Patriots had their 90-man roster pretty much full last May when there was a gong show tryout in Foxborough with a bunch of undrafted free agents. He was one of them, and he forced his way onto the 90-man roster. And then when he got into training camp, he just started making plays. It was really, really, really unlikely, because if the Patriots don't sign him, he probably doesn't get signed by anybody.
Wow.
And he's probably back working somewhere in the private sector right now.
Wow. Johnny Manziel in rehab. What kind of rehab? I don't know. Are you surprised, or how surprised are you about that revelation?
I'm not surprised that I should say I'm a little surprised he's in rehab, just because I would think that there would be so many people around Johnny Manziel telling him always what a wonderful guy he is and how great everything, and how everything is kind of going to come up roses for him. But I think there had to be a tipping point. There had to be something that happened in the wake of the season that caused friends, family to say, you're going to blow your career, or any chance you have at a career, unless you get this fixed.
Peter, thanks so much.
Technology gone bad. Gone bad. This is the Thundering Herd Podcast.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
ESPN Radio. This is the Thundering Herd Podcast.
By the way, all you Peyton Manning diehards, he's an awesome quarterback. I'm sure he's a great guy. But the Seattle Seahawks embarrassed Peyton Manning last year, and he had superior weapons. Tom Brady had Shane Vereen, Danny Amendola, and Brady owned them. That's the difference. Tom rises in crisis. Peyton Manning often shrank. Sorry if it offends you. It's the reality. Tom Brady, 4 touchdown passes. Not a single guy on the outside for Tom Brady is seen as a Pro Bowler. Peyton Manning's offensive line was better. Tight ends were better outside of Gronk, but he had 3 of them. He had really good receivers, a secondary receiver, the only thing comparable is Gronk as your number 1 target at tight end. That's it. Brady owned Seattle. Manipulated the game. Carved them up. Peyton was out of it 4 minutes in. That's the difference. The difference between good and great, player and mark, is crisis. Some shrink, A-Rod, some rise, Jeter. That's the difference. That's the difference. Warren Sapp got in trouble yesterday, fired by the NFL Network. In the morning, hooks, some violence involved. I've known Warren Sapp for a long time. Not that well, mind you. He's an athlete. I'm a broadcaster. But I worked in Tampa when he got drafted by the Buccaneers. He was a great football player. He was not well liked. You know how I said this yesterday about Johnny Manziel? Is that I've never liked Johnny Manziel, but yesterday was the first day I was really a fan of Johnny Manziel because for the first time in his life he grew up and acknowledged, I got a problem. Like, I'm not here to give, like, personal advice. You know, if you've got devils and you've got, like, you know, picadillos and stuff, man, we all do. I'm not here to judge it. We've all got them. But good for you if you can man up and, like, get help. I got along with Warren Sapp because I get along with everybody. I mean, the guys that are like Michael Irvin and Warren Sapp who've had trouble, I like them. Because mostly, they're athletes. They're jocks. I'm a broadcaster. I don't judge them like I judge me. I try to get along with everybody. I have enemies probably, but I mean, everybody I've ever worked with at ESPN, I like. I don't always agree with them, but I like. I don't have a lot of enemies. The people that like me, there's either, you know, there's probably something I said on the air they don't like. Let me tell you about Warren Sapp. I defended that guy several times a year. He's treated a lot of people poorly. A lot of people poorly. And women, men, reporters. And I always defended Warren Sapp. I'm like, you know, he's good to me. I'm not going to judge people. But I got to tell you, when that happened yesterday, a lot of people saw it coming and cheered and are glad he's no longer a broadcaster. Because there's so many broadcasters in this business, guys who work so hard. You have no idea how hard Trent Dilfer works. I mean, that guy is a grinder. I mean, the guys in this business, and I'm just saying Trent because I've known him, that guy doesn't sleep at night because he's worried about what he's going to say the next morning. That is awesome. And there's guys all over this business, broadcasters who are former jocks, and they would do anything to have these jobs. They would do anything to have these jobs. They pay great. It keeps their career going. Troy Aikman works really hard. Chris Collinsworth, NBC, works his tail off. I mean, some of these. So when there's a guy out there that's selling you soap, and a lot of people felt Warren Sapp was selling soap, it's not right. And I got nothing against him. I defended him for years. Okay, I defended him. But he was not well liked. And what happened yesterday is a long history of problems off the field, and it caught up with him. I say this, and I don't say this arrogantly. Dude needs help. He doesn't get it. He doesn't see it. His boys maybe not. Warren Sapp needs help. Like help. He's got stuff. And he doesn't listen to my show. I'm sure his guys don't. It'll get passed along eventually. Dude needs help. I'm not a therapist. I'm not Dr. Dude needs help. Okay. Johnny Manziel manned up. All help isn't equal. Some for coke, some for drink, some for anger, some for dude needs help. Like that story comes out. That stuff's been going on for a long time, man. I'm not judging, but it's been going on for a while.
Colin Cowherd.
The Thundering Herd Podcast.
By the way, I'm going to have a major bet with my staff right now, and I need all of you to support me in my wishes and dreams. So tonight, the NFL Network is re-airing the Super Bowl at 8 o'clock. And I know like half the country doesn't get it because you're a cable provider, so I'm probably screwed here. So they're re-airing the Super Bowl at 8 o'clock tonight, and I went to Stanzik, and I said, that thing's going to get a monster number. And you mocked me.
Yeah, you said it's going to get a better number than their actual games get. You realize when they have games on Thursday nights in the season, they get like 5s. Not that many people are going to watch a game that they've already watched.
Okay. We knew what was going to happen in the movie Titanic. The boat sank. Everybody went and watched the movie. You knew what happened. The boat hit an iceberg.
Yeah, and then not a ton of people went and saw it the next day after they already saw it.
My ex-wife's watched it 30 times. 30 times. She can't watch that movie enough. By the way...
Yeah, but not like 2 days later.
You don't think, Vince, am I wrong? You don't think anybody's going to watch it?
Are you wrong? Yes, you're wrong.
Yeah, I think people watch it. People will watch the same movie in a theater twice.
Yes, and the other thing, the NFL Network's going to edit it down so you don't get all the crud. They're just going to give you play.
Dude, the only thing I'm watching twice is Katy Perry. That's it.
She is hot. No, she's hot. I'm not going to lie about that. By the way, Lenny Kravitz, get a new shirt. Good hell, you've been in the public's eye for 20 years. I mean, seriously, get another jacket, dude. But I'll tell you this. Get some, they can't talk on the air, but somebody inside the NFL Network, like some big executive, what is their prediction for the rating tonight? Get Darren Ravel. Maybe he can predict it. All I know is this.
It's going to be under a 1.
Oh,
I guarantee
no way!
Yes.
Under a 1?
Under a 1.
Okay, I'm asking my audience tonight, just to make Stanzik look ridiculous. I've never asked anything of my audience. Most of you hate me. Tonight at 8 o'clock, watch the NFL Network. Listen, I don't even work there. I'll get in trouble for saying that. I'm promoting another company. But I'm an honest guy. I make a lot of mistakes. I'm laying it out there. Watch it. I love my company. Tonight from 8 to 10, I'm watching the NFL Network. I'm watching that game again. You don't think anybody under a 1?
They already know what is going to happen. They're not going to watch it again.
Dude.
Let me ask you this. How many football games have you watched again? You've never done it.
Mike Breen.
You're going to do it for the first time.
Mike Breen, voice of the Knicks, now just tweeted me. He goes, I'm now officially worried about you.
He's smart because he knows everyone's going to be watching Knicks Celtics tonight on MSG.
How much do you, I'll bet Breen. Get Breen on the show. How much? I'm right now. Get Bill Simmons on the show. My friends and allies. I'm right.
You're just naming all the people that agree with me and not you.
Okay, hold on. Let me talk to somebody. Matt, you're in the herd. Will you watch it tonight? What's your gut feeling?
What's up?
What's up?
Oh, Derek here. Am I watching the game today? No, I'm watching Katy Perry, but it's not going to be under a 1. Katy Perry alone is going to bring you a 2 or 3.
So I don't even know if I don't know if they can show the halftime show again. You don't think anybody's going to watch this game?
No way.
It is the greatest Super Bowl ever played.
Yeah, and everyone saw it on Sunday night.
By the
They're
way,
not going to watch it again on Tuesday night.
You ever heard of the movie Apollo 13? I saw what happened. I went and watched the movie 4 times. We watch stuff all the time. We know what happened. We go watch a stand-up comedian, Jerry Seinfeld. You know the jokes. He had him.
Right. You go watch Jerry Seinfeld on a Friday. You don't go see him again on Sunday.
Okay,
it's the same set.
How many concerts?
You're not going to laugh at the same joke.
I've gone to 10 U2 concerts. I know the songs they're going to play, but I love them.
Again, would you go to a U2 concert on a Sunday and then again to a U2 concert on Tuesday? No, you wouldn't.
No, depends on how cute she is. I got news for you. If she's cute and says, I love you too, and I'm like, wow, I'm single, which I guess isn't true, so I couldn't go, yeah, forget that bit. I would...
Yeah, under a 1. Book it.
No, I think you're wrong. Hold on. Oh, good hell. We got a crazy caller. Jack, you're in the herd on ESPN Radio. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what. Number 1 in the nation is playing tonight. University of Kentucky basketball, trying to win number 22. If that wasn't on, I'd probably be watching Wisconsin whoop IU. So you have 2 college basketball games on. Why would I want to watch a game I already saw?
Oh, good hell. Everybody
that college basketball game, that'll get a better number than the re-air.
Everybody makes the tournament.
The Kentucky game tonight on ESPN.
Who do they play?
Doesn't matter.
Who does
Kentucky?
Kentucky plays who?
I think he told us, but we didn't really care.
You're going to watch college basketball.
Kentucky, that game will get a better number than the re-air of the Super Bowl. Absolutely.
All right, hold on. Where's the bet? Does college basketball on ESPN get a better rating than the NFL Network? Text one of our bosses that predict that stuff. You're going to watch a college...
Yeah, Georgia at Kentucky. Let's do this.
Who would watch that? By the way, patronize our sponsors, please, during the game. I think you people have gone mad. Okay, what's the rating it has to get? You people have gone loony. Breen's gone loony. Breen has gone kooky. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. What's the bet? I say it gets at least a 5.
Oh, my God. Are you serious? It's not going to get a 1.
It's not going to get a 1.
No.
Ants racing across my kitchen floor get a 1. I'm so out of touch right now. I don't connect to any part of America. I really don't. I've always wanted to move to Belgium. Now is the time.
Putting style in black T-shirts. It's Colin Cowherd, the Thundering Herd podcast.
Grantland.com, Bill Simmons, who hung out with, it's so discouraging. He hung out with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and I love all their movies, and nobody invites me, and I feel like a loser. That must have been an unbelievable night for you.
Well, I mean, anytime your team wins the Super Bowl, it's unbelievable. But I went dead inside for like 5 minutes, Colin. When Kurtz caught that pass.
Oh, God.
I don't think people adequately understand how traumatic the Tyree catch was for Boston fans. It's like take your worst moment as a sports fan and just insert it into that moment. And to have that play happen again in the same stadium, I thought I'd be mad at you. Think it was like one of those things where you just like start throwing sodas and kicking over chairs, but you just kind of stand there and it's you're just in disbelief and you're just numb inside.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about asking you this. So you're sitting there with all these guys, and they're all Boston guys. In that moment with that catch, what did the room get loud or silent? I mean, what was it like for an accumulation of 15 dudes?
Well, the party I was at had like 100 and something people at it, and so there was a little corner of just Boston fans. And, you know, that play happens, and first of all, it seemed like he caught it, but Michaels rightly thought he didn't catch it, and all of a sudden Butler's running over. So it was kind of slowly unfolding like, wait, no, he didn't catch that. No, come on. No, stop it. And then they show the replay, hits Butler's hand, hits Kurtz's hand, bounces, hits one leg, hits the other leg. I mean, I thought the Tyree catch was the most improbable catch that could ever happen. I actually think this might have been more improbable. This hit both of his legs.
Yeah, because Tyree's catch was big, tall dude out jumps a shorter defender. This was two great defenders. Really isn't open on his back, catches it. This was far more improbable. Tyree was just a big dude who out jumped and it stuck to his helmet.
And Harrison somehow didn't dislodge it. But the Tyree catch was also about Manning scrambling around, them almost sacking him, 3 guys getting held on the play. Like that was just all these different events adding up to this one big trauma.
Oh, by the way, I want to play the play-by-play on radio. I want to relive it for a moment because I just here it goes. Let's play the play-by-play.
4-man rush this time. Russell's going to lay it up over the top this time. Kurtz reaching up. Ball flat. He caught it. It's down into the dark. Holy catfish. He was tipped up in the air and Kurtz on his back at the 5-yard line. Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's not
So then, you know, every Pats fan is just in disbelief. And we don't even realize that Seattle calls a timeout. I thought they had 2 timeouts left. They had 1. I didn't know.
They butchered that. By the way, did you notice this? They called a timeout after the 2-minute warning and an incomplete pass. Then they called another timeout, burnt another one as he went out of bounds. Pete Carroll's offense burned 2 useless timeouts in the last minute and a half.
So then when Lynch got the ball and it seemed like he was going to score, I think everybody was rooting for him to score. We would have had like 55 seconds left. The Seahawks defensive line was just shot. Like they were kind of understaffed anyway, and then they lost Averill. So they had no pass rush anymore.
Yeah.
And I think Brady could have gone 40 yards in 50 seconds, but they tackled him. So then now it leads to the whole debate of, well, do we let him in? What do we do here? And then Belichick's not calling a timeout. And then it's like, what are you doing? Why aren't we calling timeout? This is crazy. What's happening? And then all of a sudden Butler and everything shifts. It was the most unbelievable 4-minute sequence of plays I have ever seen in my life.
You know, my theory on Belichick not calling a timeout, and it's probably not right, Bill, but I had this belief that Bill was sitting there and it was really fluid. And Bill's sitting there thinking, okay, because the Patriots kept in their base defense. They didn't screw around with substitutions. And Bill's thinking, simplify it. We've practiced this. It's our goal line defense. We know what we're doing. Seattle, meanwhile, threw in a couple of sub packages, a couple of different guys. And I thought Bill thought to himself, let them worry about the clock. It's another pain in the butt. We know what we're doing. Simplify it. They brought in another unit. They were struggling getting the play in. They'd wasted timeouts. And he thought, let the clock also be another thing they have to worry about. Don't give them a timeout break and get organized because they look disorganized. What do you think about that?
I've spent 24 hours thinking about it, reading everything, reading different emails, reading different theories, and I really think he just liked the situation. And it sounds weird to say that, but there's a parallel. In 2003, they were playing the Colts, and the Colts came back. I think the Pats were up like 38-10, or they were 31-10, something like that. 38-34. Colts are on like the 1 or 2 yard line, and the Pats just stoned them and won the game. Willie McGinnis stuffed him on 4th down. So maybe that was in his head a little bit, but I just think he liked the situation. They only had one timeout. So you can't run the ball there, because if you run the ball on 2nd down, then you have to call the timeout because they have 20 seconds left. So he knew a pass play was coming. He also knew the Seahawks were expecting him to call timeout, and they didn't call timeout. So now they're sending out this pass. Like, really, Seattle should have called their timeout because they had the wrong offense. The Pats had the 8-man front with 3 cornerbacks, and they practiced against this specific play. The slant over the middle, they're ready for it. Butler said after the game, he's like, we practiced that play on Friday. I knew it was coming. So, you know, the thing I think Seattle should have just done is that's a play where you just roll Wilson out and either he throws it out of bounds or whatever.
I thought you do the zone read, he keeps it. Like a couple times. Do it a couple times. But it's funny. You mentioned what I mentioned. There is this sense that Seattle's idiotic to throw, but they only had one timeout left. You couldn't run the ball bang, bang, bang. So
and the other thing, people don't realize when you're at the game, because there was a similar situation with Baltimore and San Francisco 2 years ago, and you think like, oh, we got into the, we got inside 1st and goal, we're going to win this game. But when you don't get it that 1st down, the tension shifts.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that clock's moving. And, people are looking around, and you kind of, I thought Seattle, like, you watch that tape again, and Seattle's kind of disheveled.
Yes.
Even when they're going up to the thing, it's like they're a little disorganized.
Yes, they are. Yes, see, and that's my point, is that in the end, Belichick's like, you know what? They've burned 2 timeouts. Let them deal with this crap. They don't look totally organized.
And he has been so smart over the years and so unconventional with the way he thinks. I mean, remember when he started a riot between the advanced metrics community and the football community when he went for it on 4th on 28? Like, this is a guy who really puts thought into stuff. So I went, in 24 hours, I went from thinking, that's crazy, there's just no explanation for this other than he must have thought he could stop that play, to thinking, this was almost like poker. Like, he's at the poker table, he's reading the other player, and he's thinking, I don't have the best hand right now, but I don't think that guy knows he has the best hand, and I kind of know what he's going to do, and I'm just going to play this out and see what happens. I think maybe he thought that was his best chance to win.
Let me play the Sports Hub call of the Butler interception. Roll it, guys.
Russell Wilson extends the hands. He has it. Wilson, quick throw. And it's good. Intercepted. Intercepted by Russell Butler. Butler has it at the 1. Russell Butler stepped in front of the throw. And the Patriots have possession with 20 seconds to go in Super Bowl 49 with a 4-point lead over the Seahawks.
It's got to be one of the dumbest calls offensively in Super Bowl history.
Is that the most fun, when it was all wrapped up and you put a bow on it, Bill, is it the most fun you've ever had watching a sporting event?
No, I mean, it's in the conversation, but I think people forget that first Pats Super Bowl they'd never won before, and they had the ball basically on their own 25 or whatever, 30 seconds left, and screen pass to Redmond, over the middle to Wiggins, over the middle to Brown. All of a sudden, they're on like the 40, and Vinatieri's kicking a field goal one play later, and they won the Super Bowl. That's pretty tough to top. This is the biggest high-low swing I ever remember.
Okay, what about? It's better than all that Red Sox stuff, right?
Well, the game 4, 5, 6, 7 against the Yankees is way up there, and then Bird stealing the ball.
Okay, Bird
87 Pistons is way up there. Henderson stealing the ball game 2, 84 Finals is way up there.
Bruins, who cares, right? Bruins doesn't rank up there, right?
No, but Orr's goal in 1970 when he got tripped and he's up in the air, like that's like the iconic.
You
Bruins
were
play.
4 years old. How does that count?
The Bruins also, when they came back from the Leafs, that they were like 3 goals down with 7 minutes left or whatever that was when they won that series. That was a big one. But this one had the biggest high-low I can ever remember. I never remember being that low and in that much disbelief, and then the switch flipping, and all of a sudden it's euphoria, and we just won the Super Bowl. And it's like, you see Brady's 37 years old, and he's jumping up and down like he's an 8-year-old.
Oh, it was in the reaction in that second. So Pete Carroll, for the first time in 2 years, is appalled. Belichick slightly smiles. Brady goes 9 years old. Like, Brady looks like a little kid, which, you know what I take away from that? He loves this game so passionately. It is so deeply embedded in his soul. He's a little kid playing this game. He never wants to quit.
All he does is play football and prepare to play football. He has no other hobbies. His whole life is constructed around playing football. And I think the other thing about that clip is I just think this one meant the most to him because it had been 10 years since the last one. I think these guys are all lying when you always hear them say, hey, look, I don't care about my legacy. That's
please.
For this. There's no way he doesn't think about Manning. He grew up rooting for Montana. If anyone understood the stakes of 4 Super Bowls, basically setting every Super Bowl record, he has the resume now. It is unassailable. He's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yes.
And then on top of that, his reputation's getting besmirched for 2 weeks by all these people. If you read anything about Brady, like the one thing about this guy is a huge family guy. He's got his parents are in his life. He's got the 3 sisters. This is not a guy who's like this sneaky guy. I think his feelings were really hurt.
Sure.
It sounds weird to say that, but I think he was just kind of like, really? And the way that the story was covered versus how all of a sudden on Sunday it comes out, only 1 ball was deflated.
Yeah.
And then a couple more were underneath. And so all the reports were wrong. And meanwhile, nobody's looking at the fact that the Colts had this 1 football handed to the equipment manager. Nobody's looking at the Colts. Gee, I wonder if maybe they deflated it. Like, the point is, who knows? Who knows what happened? There's no evidence one way or the other.
So you think, you know what? I've not heard anybody say that. Do you think it's possible the Colts deflated one?
I think anything's possible. We don't know what happened. This whole thing was ridiculous. It was just hearsay and erroneous reports, and then you turn on ESPN or NFL Network, it's 80% of the people talking about the Patriots are people who have lost to the Patriots in a playoff game. Seriously, make the list. Somebody make the website with all the people and put the losses next to them. It goes all the way back to Marshall Faulk and Kurt Warner. I have to hear these guys talk about the Patriots? Poor Brewski was out there by himself, outmanned. So, for the Patriots fans, this was...
Are you watching the repeat tonight on NFL Network at 8 o'clock?
I taped the repeat that night. I never tape the game live anymore because I had my wife tape the Tyree game and then the second Giants Super Bowl. Well, I blame myself.
What do you mean you blame yourself? Did she butcher it?
No, I blame myself for wanting to tape the game. I never told you this story. 86, Game 6, World Series. We go into the Red Sox score. I call my mom, and I say, will you tape this game? We're about to win the World Series. Starts the tape, and you can the tape just rolls. All the terrible stuff happens. And then when the tape ends, it actually taped over the Dave Henderson home run that I had taped in the Angels series. And I was just like, I'm never doing that again. Never in my life. I somehow swung the game. But, sports is crazy. You end up thinking crazy things. You end up thinking that you're swinging the karma of the game.
Oh, no, I used to. Until about a few years ago, I would change where I was sitting on the couch to influence games.
I still do that.
No, I mean, I really do believe. For instance, if I leave the room and my team scores, then I will sometimes sit outside of a room and just listen to the game. I know it sounds idiotic, but I know I'm influencing the game. I can absolutely tell.
You know, we've talked about this before in your show, but football is just a crazy sport where every year you leave the season and you think 5 or 6 or 7 teams could have won. And this year, I really feel like Dallas could have won the Super Bowl.
Really?
I think the Packers could have won.
Dallas is defense.
I think Baltimore
yes.
could have won.
Yes.
Seattle could have won, and New England could have won.
Yes.
And all of them needed these kind of lucky plays. You know, the Pats were down 14 to Baltimore. We ran a play with a receiver throwing it to another receiver that they've never run in 8 years.
Will you root for Brady when at 42 he's playing for the LA Rams?
He can't leave now.
He's going to leave. He's going to leave.
No, you know what?
Bill.
He's now. I don't think people fully understand this outside of
Bill.
the Boston fans. He's never leaving.
Bill.
It's not happening.
He is.
It's not happening. He's Bird. He's on the Bird level now. He won 4 Super Bowls. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. This isn't Peyton Manning. Hey, we're shoving you out of the way because we have Andrew Luck. I mean, Manning would have stayed in Indianapolis for his whole career if they don't get the #1 pick and get Andrew Luck. He's still there.
Bill, Favre left Green Bay. Brady's going to want to play till he's...
Favre left Green Bay because they had Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but they got this Tony Amato or whatever his name is. He's supposed to be...
Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah, he's supposed to be terrific.
You're not dumping the greatest quarterback of all time for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Terrific.
Sorry.
Jimmy Garoppolo, I've heard, is tremendous in crisis.
And here's another thing, Colin. He's in great shape. He's a little slower, and he's going to throw 1 or 2 terrible passes a game. But he's still physically in great shape, and he plays a position where you're not allowed to hit the quarterback anymore. He takes 2 hits a game.
What's that guy's name again that backs him up? What's his name?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay, I just got to get it right.
Very handsome. Very handsome backup quarterback.
Brady's dad said it's ending badly. His dad said it, Bill.
Yeah, but that's before they won the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl, Colin.
Belichick.
Don't be negative sports media member looking for negative stories after the fact.
I'm not. I'm just.
He's not. Look, did Larry Bird retire with the Celtics? Yes. Tom Brady's retiring with the Patriots.
Yeah,
this is guaranteed now.
Bird was shot. His ankles were taped on. He couldn't play anymore.
Well, Brady's going to have that year, and you know what? They always leave a year. Bird actually left probably at the right time. I think he could have hung on for one more terrible year. But I think Manning's in that situation now where I think we all agree that Manning can't play 5 straight months of football anymore.
Yeah, it's done.
But he's going to play one more year and try to cheat time and cheat the whole thing, and he's going to get hurt again, and he's not going to make it through the season. He's going to retire. Brady's still at the top of his game. He threw 50 passes in that Seahawks game.
All right,
I mean, in all your life where you've watched football, how many quarterbacks would you have trusted in that spot?
No.
You're down 10 with 11 minutes left in the Super Bowl. What's the list of quarterbacks you trust right there?
Yes, but you know what it's like? It's like these Wall Street guys. In the end, when they get to be 60, they just get a new girl. That's just what because they live in the moment. Bill Belichick is just a live in the moment. What can you do for me now? It doesn't matter how great the marriage was. In the end, he will move off it in 4 years. It doesn't matter how great the memories are. You know how Bill is. That's just not.
Well, but you're assuming Belichick's going to be there. I mean, Belichick's in his mid-60s now.
Listen,
I don't know. I think they as a Pats fan, I just think they have to go out together at this point. We're never going to see another situation like this where one of the greatest coaches of all time and the greatest quarterback of all time come into the team at the same exact season. Like, what are the odds of that? What are the odds? Like a billion to 1 that happens?
This isn't a podcast. I don't have 4 days. I love you. I got to get out of here. I'm like 16 minutes over. Okay,
I appreciate the extra time. Thank you, Colin.
You owe Grantland.com, ESPN Extraordinary Talent, Bill Simmons. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Check out The Herd with Colin Cowherd weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPNRadio.com, and on ESPNU. The Thundering Herd Podcast.